Good morning, family. How's everybody doing? I see in the comments that it already started, so I gotta call in. Well, first of all, before I tune in and take out the sound, because it's illegal to go ahead and stream the audio from the court, but tune in. If you need any numbers, I can put the one number I'm calling personally to gauge the call. So if you need to do that, you do that. We're going to be very engaged in the chat while we're individually all listening to the phone call ourselves. And then in between, in recess, we will obviously come back to reassess what's happening. Now, one thing I want everybody to pay attention to in the background as well, for some of you that is also trading besides just AMC right now, since the PC I numbers came out. It came out very good as expected. What do you see right now in the SPY? Told you it was going to reverse on Monday. This past Monday, it did. And now when the market opens in about 20 minutes, AB's got some business to take care of besides just like, the AMC. Ooh, almost just screwed up the chat. So I'm going to put the sound off now. You're going to see me smoking hookah. I don't condone doing anything illegal, guys. This is just going to be hookah. If you haven't done hookah before, I don't know what to tell you. Hoping you all are having a great morning, and let's see who's this screaming lady in the background. And I'll be basically tuning in. I'll put the number in the chat right here if anybody else wants to call. And here we go. First, gotta have my coffee. Can't start a day without a coffee. I know. You guys are like, AB, stop being cheesy. Can't have a day without coffee. It's before I even have breakfast. All right, here we go. Okay, so it looks like they're going just according to the schedule. So they're gonna go, I think, at 9:15. So in about 2 minutes. So in the meantime, I can talk to you guys, right? You guys want to talk to AB? Alice, that was the question as far as regarding to the vote. It was just a poll that I put up there. One thing again I want to say to everybody is watch how crazy this is gonna be as far as the market. Besides just AMC, I mean, guys, the numbers being reported like this, you're gonna see crazy volatility in the market today. But more importantly, what Matt like to personally, this is personally, not more importantly, but personally for me, the best part is the fact that I predicted this to happen about over a week ago, and I showed the receipts are proof to why I think so. You guys remember, most of you have been in the lives. If you've been in the lives, you've seen it. And honestly, it's going to be very rewarding this morning for these few trades that I had to, kind of like put my money where my mouth was. So I am very, very, very excited about that. On top of that, also, we see that in the pre-market, Nvidia is relaunching another heist towards again, to perhaps trying to hit a new all-time high. Um, it is at right now, as I see, it's at 414. The all-time high is 439. Again, all it takes is for Nvidia to go up 2%, and it's up there. You see all the major cap stocks, they're all reacting to better than expected numbers. What this data tells you is that the numbers of um, that were reported were just the same or a little bit better, which will give the inclination that the Feds in next month would be less hawkish on the inflation rate, or I'm sorry, on the hike rate. Instead of a 50 basis points, then they would be most likely. Now the sentiment is most likely a 25 basis points. And as you can see, that doesn't mean that right now the market is just going to continue going up for life. This is just the way that you can gauge what's happening and go along with the trends. And of course, know and understand why what's happening is happening the way that it is. The Great Stunner. What happened to all the objectors? I don't know. I think they're just starting at 9:15. It's 9:16 now, so maybe they're just getting to start now. By the way, the first recess that we have, look at Casey. The first we get a chance, I'm going to talk to you guys about an article that came out that was very, very eye popping for me personally. And then I'm going to continue to talk about some logic. And it's if you stay through this live, we're going to be here. I'm going to cover this to the best of my ability, the whole, possibly to the whole case, like yesterday. But there is a particular logic. Like I see people attacking people, and then I'll talk to you guys throughout this live, and maybe in the next recess or the recess after that. I'll scatter it through, but there's that logic that is jumping around where people are saying if you don't agree with the company, then why don't you sell if you don't agree with the company? And here's the thing. People know better than to come at me with that kind of stupidity or that logic, because I kill that shit right in its own tracks. So I'll tell you guys what it is that you could tell, what you could say if somebody's trying to bully on or tell you some stupid stuff. You have the right to feel and think the any way you want to think and feel, and vote the way that you want to vote. And I'll tell you guys exactly what it is that I when somebody comes at me with with that kind of stupidity, I give them a stupid response that basically eloquently matches their you know small mindset. So with that being said, did they get back on? Can somebody tell me if they got back on? Okay, perfect. Putting out the volume now, and then I'll be back for the first recess. All right. I'll talk to you guys in the chat. All right. Uh, wow. Wow. Alice, I think that was Tender Sin Mender. I'm assuming that was that person. Um, wow, this guy came out on fire. I mean, it's like he well, rightfully so. He definitely had a couple of espresso shots this morning. Wow. Well, Rem, good morning to you too, my friend. Nice to have you this morning as well. Um, the volume is definitely low. The market's just opened. I just literally, on that at that moment, I had to collect some profits on some of my calls on the SPY. However, it looks like it's gonna do its thing. But you know, you gotta take your profits so that you're always protecting yourself for whatever. Even though the data that came is very encouraging for the market in general for today, you're gonna see bullish action, perhaps some ups and downs, but it's gonna end on the green side. You'll see that by the end. He was good, Captain No Likey. Nice to have you in here. He was very good. Um, we got tired of the corruption. It's turned. Yes, yes, he is. He is an owner, and as you could hear, Alice, he was basically speaking on the factual matter of how after reverse split, how his stock position, his average, is going to go up tremendously, and what he would have to spend to try to even average down again to get back to a even close to the position that he's in, that he's already at a loss in. And I understand many people, unfortunately, in this community are, while we have this divide of the yes and the no, many people with the yes will say you shouldn't have gotten on the top, or that's your problem and all this stuff. And here's the essence of where we could start actually getting to figuring out where the sellouts are. Because if you go back in time, unless you've came to this community a month ago or 2 months ago or 3 months ago, the idea in the past, even when we were in the 60s, there were people buying. I bought AMC in the 60s. I bought AMC in the 50s. I bought AMC in the 40s. I bought AMC in the 30s, in the 20s, in the teens, and in this current state, because ultimately there was two objectives that was in the back of my head, and this was the norm throughout the whole community. Everybody was thinking exactly the same way. It's not like it was just me, but that was exactly the sentiment that everybody was talking about throughout the community. And no one was advising no one, but that was just the norm, that we had two objectives. One, save the company. Two, make sure we put whatever we have into this stock, because like I put in this on top, as you guys see that on top of this stream on the top right, AMC, we love the freaking stock. Those were the two objectives throughout this whole movement. Somewhere along the lines that changed, and people started talking about you shouldn't have gotten at a higher average, or you should have looked at your average and whatever. So basically, somewhere along the line, some individuals or a group of infiltrators came into this very beautiful community and family that was like a family in the community, and actually started infiltrating with the logic of fundamentals slash profits. Like AMC, buy it at 15, sell it at 17, whatever. Like collect at 11 and sell at 12. Like all this, I've never heard this stuff in any MOAS or short squeeze talk. Short squeezes have no buying and selling. Short squeezes have buy and holding. Now that's the community I personally thought that I was getting into. Now, what the reality is could be different from what I want it to be, but I know I'm not the only one in this whole community that thinks exactly with that logic. And it's just a damn shame to see some of them turn around, because they were all muted. They were all quiet. In fact, they were all taking the road of actually pushing people on, hyping people, saying, we're going to mow ass, we're going to mow ass. But when things took this turn late into this movement, two and a half years later, some of them started coming out. First, they were muted. They were in the background, covered, putting this mask on as pretending to be people all about the stock, about the movement. This is what we're about. Yes, we're in it with you. We're going to mow ass, blah, 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 all the stuff. No, not financial advice, but we're going to mow ass and all this stuff. But then when things took a turn to the legal aspect of things, guess what? Now you hear this different logic. They're coming out with different agenda. Their true self is coming out. They're no longer able to mask the true them and put on that fake mascot of, I'm an ape, we're an ape, let's go, we're going to mow ass to the moon, all this stuff. But now their true self is coming out because they're talking about collecting profits, do this. Why did you get on on the 20s or the 30s or the 15s or blah, blah, blah? Like they already knew 2 years ago that AMC was going to be brought back down to $5 or less. And guess what? Even back then, how many of you in here, put in the chat, how many of you used to remember when we were in the 30s, 40s, 50s, whatever, what have you, that all these people in the community were unanimously all saying that even if you send, like, whenever Market Watch or Motley Fool or Seeking Alpha comes out with an article, a stupid article that says Gasparino thinks that the stock is going to go down back to 5 when we were in the 20s and the 30s, how many of these motivators slash content creators or community members that are in a position of influence, how many of them did you used to hear say, I don't care if they send this stock back down to 5. I will, you know what, even if they send it back to $1, I love this fucking stock and I'm going to buy it and we're going to mow ass and all this stuff. All of them used to say that stuff. Now, 2 years later, these very same individuals that put on that mask and pretended to be these, I don't care, you can send it down, blah, blah, blah. Now they're saying, they're all coming out acting like they were gurus. I knew it was going to come back down to 5. You shouldn't have bought at 16. You shouldn't have bought at 20. That is the wolf in sheep's clothing, and exactly what was going on with the whole community. And of course, we will talk about even more stuff. Aaliyah, good morning to you, my friend. I'm glad, Mrs. Chase, you with me. That's all that matters. We take on the whole world. Aaliyah, it's for the yes and the no vote. Everybody's saying like, why yes, why no? Yeah, they would definitely scream FUD now. All this talk about fundamentals all of a sudden and all this stuff like that comes as far as like collecting, like if it goes up to this, like what happened to all this collecting and when this stock runs? Do you think GME, when it ran up to the 480s, do you think they were talking about collecting profits in the 30s? GME started off at $4, $3 in the pandemic. That's where it squoze from. It's not like it was at 100 or at 25 or something. No, it was up. It was down there, right along with AMC. Yes, of course, some different dynamics and the floats are a little bit different. But guess what? When GME was in the 20s and the 30s and the 40s, there were freaking shot callers that were freaking buying the stock at that point. And there was very little amount that were going around talking about collect your profits at 20. They wanted it. They were about that business. They were about that life. And they got that stock to get to 480. And even then, they were still not content because rightfully so, the stock still did not squeeze because it was halted in January 8th to by taking off the buy button and forcing people to sell when some did, many didn't, but it prevented the stock from going higher and higher and higher and higher. So over the past 2 years, this new BS that came out of nowhere of oh, Why did you buy at 30? Why did you buy at 20? Or it's your fault that you made this mistake at buying at those highs. Really? So you were donning the move. You were donning the whole embracing all the support of the community and putting on this veil or what have you, or like this mask of I got your back, you got mine, and we're all gonna squeeze these fucking short, scandalous hedge funds out of the way. And now you come back and you turn on those very same people just because you have another side in the community that also supports that because they could just go along with what you say. That's the shame right there. Gary Keaton, what's up, brother? I want to retire soon. You will retire soon. In God's will. Let's see. Who else do we got in here? Journey to the Center of the Universe, 100% agrees. Adrian, look at this. I got Adrian. Hey, what's up, brother? Nice to have you in here. I've said it from the beginning. I'll say it now. Mars or bankruptcy. That's exactly what the whole notion was. Exactly, Mrs. Chase, the whole notion, thank you for bringing that up. Now we are stupid, or why don't we get out? Here's the thing. When people come at you with that kind of stupidity or that notion, when they say, don't get out if you don't like this reality, or if you don't like the board or the CEO of this company, here's what I got to tell you. How many of you, especially any of these yes motivators, yes vote people and all that stuff, how many of you are not okay with what's happening in the political world in the United States, in our own backyard, here in the US, in our home? How many of you, in fact, I know for a fact that most of the yes crowd are also, similarly to many of the no crowd, don't like this regime that we're dealing with, or the man at the helm. My question to you at that point, if I use your logic that you're using with me to the stock, if you don't like the board, you don't like the CEO, then get out. You don't have to invest in the stock. Why are you in the US still? Why are you here if you don't agree with the president or with the politics here? I'm waiting still. Your answer is going to be, oh no, that's oranges and apples. No, it's not. It's the same logic. You bring a stupid argument talking about if you don't like this. No, our logic is not that we don't like the stock. We freaking love the fucking stock. Our argument is that we're being cheated by the people that's in the helm position in the stock. And we won't be quiet until we get what is rightfully ours, or we get the stock and the company that we love on the right track. In however way or however manner that we have to go about to do so. And this is the step that we do it. This is by doing this, being in court, fighting. And by the way, the fruits of this, if it's good for all of us and this stupid whatever reverse in slash whatever is nullified, guess what? And the plan that was supposed to be happening since early 2020, early 2021 comes to fruition. All of you will have no one to thank but all these beautiful no-sayers that said no to the stupidity and to that ridiculous offer of a reverse split slash conversion and do it all the way and then get all these stupid hedge funds and the shorts off the hook. Sorry, that one speaker that just spoke freaking got the best out of me. Christopher Santos, what's up besides AMC? As you can see it, look at that. Look at that. Who told you what was going to be happening with the market for the last week or so? Since last week, I've been telling you, and specifically on Monday, I told you that we made a rebound on the S&P 500, and guess what? What have you right here? Do you hear any of these other content creators who just want to sit there and say yes, no, or whatever, tell you this stuff exactly like this? Fact check me. Go back to the lives. Go back to the videos. Mainly the lives. Fact check me. And by the way, that's not because the market is that's it. We're in a bull market. I've made my case for all these situations. I gotta go back to listen to the case now because I'm pretty sure they're probably back. Somebody tell me in the chat if they're back so we can listen and they'll react. But I just had to get that out of my chest as far as that whole notion of why don't you get out and all that stuff. Who's anybody to tell anybody to get in or to get out? They don't offer stock advice or financial advice, but they could give get out advice. Yeah, I think it's the coffee. Exactly, Aaliyah. They kept saying that the squeeze play isn't tied to the fundamentals, and now they push fundamentals down our throat. Yeah, exactly, Aaliyah. That's the crazy part. Is why do you think there is a high short interest in AMC? Why do you think there was high short in GME? Why do you think there was a high short in any of these stocks that we so-called meme stocks? Because they're targeted companies, and they were supposed to get hit fundamentally by that pandemic slash their own fundamentals in this. That's why shorts come to these companies. And the idea is not in the fundamentals. It's like the short thesis is so backwards. And these people who speak that stuff really know nothing about the market. They just know they came into the market in the YouTube game, probably arguably around the same time, probably a year or two ago. And now they're talking like gurus who've been around since 2008 or 2001 and what have you. The short theses and the way that they link it while they read a couple of books and a couple of articles and they come and report on that, that could be some points that are true, but the way they tie it up is completely, in my humble opinion, wrong. Wrong. Volkswagen, for example, the Volkswagen squeeze had terrible fundamentals, and that's exactly why they were targeted to be shorted down very aggressively. But the reason why they squeezed and it became the biggest squeeze on the market until perhaps we take that crown over from them or that spot from them. The only reason why they squeezed was not because they made better fundamentals. That's because the parent company came in and bought up the whole freaking float. There was no freaking fundamentals involved in that shit. If it's about fundamentals, then it's a wrap for every company that is shorted out there. Literally, it's a wrap for every company that is shorted out there. It's not only about that. And that's why they had to come up with a different strategy in 2021 in January to go ahead and change. When they put that pause on that buy button and they suspended the trading on those select stocks, they had to come up with a different strategy, which was create the I'm assuming here that they allegedly started selling all these extra floats and synthetics and blah, blah, blah. You give us your money, but we'll give you an IOU. Because they know that we unlock the hack code, which is block up the float, keep buying it, force these shorts out because you know that they're there. Now it's freaking backwards. This never happened in the stock market before. Anybody that tells you that has always been the case is a stupid liar or is a person who doesn't know the market, who doesn't know the history of the market at all. This is different. What we are in is completely different. That is unprecedented. That never ever happened before. Shorts always been there, but people never consolidated with the ideology of buy, continue buying, and lock up the float and hold it. That was the past. The future or the present of where we came about, how we almost obliterated them in January of 2021 and then again in June 2021 was that we kept locking up the float and we target wherever there's high short interest, we'll go there, which was the direct issue to the shorting model, which is a model of all these shorting hedge funds make so much money off of. That's their number one breadwinner. And by us destroying that model, they couldn't just like all just go insolvent because they have to short. They just couldn't. Can you believe the bigotry here? They couldn't just go and become traders, institutional traders. They already have so many advantages as far as like finances, access to algorithms, access to news ahead of retail and all that stuff. They were not okay with just that. No, they wanted extra. They wanted the ability to have all the stuff that I just mentioned and be able to short without the fear of somebody margin calling them out of that position. How do you margin call them? Is by locking up the float. You buy out the float, you lock it up, and next thing you know, the stock continues based on the market cap. When people keeps buying, there's high demand, the stock price goes up, which ultimately margin calls the freaking shorts that are involved in that play, whichever play it is. That was a destruction to their play, that model. The whole entire shorting model was done. And they couldn't just go with that. That's why we're in unprecedented times and something that have never happened before. Now they actually have the ability to get in and short, and it doesn't matter. Zeus could freaking come down. If you believe in Zeus, here you go. And Greek mythology, like, he could come down and lock up not just the float, but all the synthetic floats out there. There is a limit to them. And guess what? The shorts would still not get margined because it's not affecting the margin. And by doing so, they're hitting two birds with one stone, unfortunately. They're not losing out on their short positions. They're making money, ensuring that that's what's happening. And second of all, they actually have a way out. That's the second bird that they're hitting with that one stone. By dropping the stock price of every company out there, they're fundamentally forcing each stock or each company toward having to do a reverse stock split or getting delisted from the NASDAQ and being thrown away to the OTC market or going towards bankruptcy. The statement here to anybody who's pushing this yes notion and all this stuff is that you think that solves, that's the end of it, that you just sacrifice X amount of shares, 10-1 on both of your investments there, and you think that will be the last of your sacrifice. No. That doesn't margin any of this, and this cost to borrow, that we've seen it in over 1,000 even before. And that shit is self-reported, but we've even seen it over 1,000. Did it happen? No. You will see it go right back down. What we're fighting here, what I'm fighting here, is the notion that they can go willingly and short whatever and not have to worry about anything because they've made it okay to go ahead and continuously direct orders. Doesn't matter where they're going to do dark pools / create all these unlimited amounts of synthetics by giving the green light from some upper offices, and I'll leave that to your own imaginations to know or guess who's giving them the green pass to do those certain things or these evil things, these insidious things. And eventually they win two things. They make money in doing so. They short the stock. They don't have to worry about getting margined. And the second part that they win is that by doing so, they force every company that they're shorting down, whatever company it is. Yesterday, ANY did a 7-1 stock split, reverse split. Sundial did it. WISA did it. AMC is on the hook of doing it. We can go down the list of how many companies were pushed to make a reverse stock split. Those reverse stock splits were not because of the bad fundamentals of the company. More so, they were forced to fundamentally be in that position. Because if the stock get bought and it counts against the market cap of the stock would be going up. The company would not be in a situation where its stock price is so low, even if it does a shelf offering or whatnot, and it sells its arm, it sells its leg, it sells its kidney, it sells its liver. It's still not enough. It goes down. What's up, Smith? Let's see. AMC survived the pandemic when theaters were closed. Now theaters are packed and certain. See, here's the thing, Journey to the Center of the Universe. Like, it's all about, to me, It's all about being fair to all the assessments. Yes, we are in a bad position. Many people will make the argument that Adam Aaron personally have put us in a very terrible situation, and he put us in many good situations. Now, what are the true motives? You have to get into the man's head. Now, my personal self, I don't agree with many of his actions, and the way that people are so pessimistic and so passive, and like say, okay, he did 1 or 2 or 3 bad decisions, but he did 2, 3 good decisions. I'll give him a pass as long as he runs. No, 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 no. When it involves people's lives, people's futures, a company, a freaking big, over $1 billion company, you don't make like people like look at coaches in the freaking sports in the NBA. One bad move and this coach is fired. Like you want to tell me about a CEO who's getting paid 20 plus million a year to do what he does to make a bad decision? So again, but I'll be serious here, and I'll be fair as possible. Yes, we did sell this. We did survive the pandemic, but that's because we only survived the pandemic because we came about. We bought the stock. We gave them the ability to sell $2 billion worth of stock in 2021 in that run up so that they could prolong this thing. Some people might make the case to say that that whole thing and that whole shit was freaking planned so that we could be here today and fill the pockets. Or maybe that was the payment that takes care of the board and the people so they could be on the take. And that's not my job. That's not what we're doing here or we're discussing here. However, that did happen. They did sell. So we came about, we made that situation for them to have a longer, prolonged. So we just prolonged the terrible reality that AMC was going through. However, now AMC is doing this basically reverse split / blah, blah, blah conversion and all this stuff where it's saying, hey, you sacrificed before, we need more sacrifice. But we need this sacrifice. Otherwise, you will have bankruptcy and you lose and we lose. And that's unacceptable in my humble opinion. And I think there's many ways for us to survive through until we get our freaking whatever, until the stock market gets corrected from the law end as far as who's allowing these bloodsuckers to continue to short stocks without having to worry about themselves getting margined out, because whoever's buying a stock, the shorts are not worried that the stock is going to rise. The shorts have a green pass, literally, to go in, short a stock, choose the spot they want to get out at, close, make profits, and reshort again, and they don't have to worry. Even if people see that there's a stock, 30% of the float is shorted, let's jump in it. Well, tough luck, AMC is more than that. And they have not been margined. Because there's so many green passes coming from the upper side. And you want to sit here and tell people that the short thesis is real and that the AMC board, by doing this act, this corporate act, we will solve it all? You must have been in the market for only a year or 2 months if that's what you're influencing. And that's the sad part, influencing people to say or do. Because the problem is multi-phased, and most of it is not from within the stock or the fundamentals of the stock. It's from what is being caused by the stock market to the stock. CSI, what's up, my friend? There is the man, the myth, the legend, man of the hour. How are you, brother? I had I had a good coffee. I think the espresso's gotten to me. But I had to speak some of this stuff because I keep hearing people talking about leave the stock and all this stuff. If you don't like the CEO, leave the stock. Sergio Rivers, a lot of reporting on this, us. But the reason why it's being overlooked is because it's the people that we're reporting to are exactly the people that are being paid by the people that we're reporting about. Man. Hey, CSI, by the way, that Kittle, that Tom Izzo's lawyer, man, in the next recess, I got to tune back in to hear what they're saying, so I'm going to put the volume down on this, but I'll tell you this, and hell yeah, you ain't leaving because I ain't either, and none of us in here is leaving. Put in the comment section if any of you in here is leaving or if you're not leaving. And you don't even have to worry about anybody letting you down, because in this family here, everybody is freaking respected, unless you come about in here on some rah rah shit. Um, but yeah, CSI. There was an article we will talk about Izzo's lawyer, which again I was very excited and very happy and proud to actually sign that treaty that you made. I remember weeks ago we were talking about it, me and Drew. I remember you were telling me about it. After you told me about it, I went onto your page. It gave me the link under one of your videos, so I went there and I signed that thing. And boy, am I proud, because man, the guy he's a legend. He's the real deal. I can't wait for him to speak again today. But ooh, trades are doing good on this run up. Okay, guys, I'm gonna put the volume down a little bit. I'm gonna be active in the chat with you guys. Tuck, 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 tuck. And then the next recess, I'll put the volume again, and maybe the coffee would have done its thing. Okay. I'm putting the volume right back down, but I just gotta say this. Man, fuck this Allegheny freaking lawyer guy, man. At the end of his statement, he plays the victim saying tens of millions of people got my face and my number and my name floating around on freaking social media. This is why we deserve that 20 million payout. And he showed his true card saying that now he turned on us, the investors. He said the true, now that it's being played out like this, the true threat to the company and to everybody else is the actual shareholders. Man, fuck the Allegheny lawyer. We already knew that they were BS, but now, like, man, he is so lame. Like I said, he deserve I'm glad that I'm nowhere around this guy. I swear to God, this guy would get an AB smack. Okay, I gotta put it back to listen. I just had to get that out of my chest, and I'll be involved with the chat with you guys. Okay. Ouch. Ouch. My foot just slipped and hit the bottom of the desk. Ouch, that hurts. Um, well, you heard the judge, most importantly, toward the end, saying that she will not be given her judgment on this case. Um, Today, she won't be even doing it sometime this week. She said she wants to do this, like, is her judgment is going to come out, her ruling is going to come out after the 4th of July, after that, basically after this week and basically next week, so that basically people could enjoy the holidays and the time with their families and all that stuff. But it's going to come out in a written statement and it will be placed on the docket. That's as far as how this whole thing is going to work out. Now, they're still going to come out after this break to hear the final like few objectors to this, and then, like I said, she will be putting her ruling sometime after next week or after the 4th of July weekend to say exactly how this case will play out. Wow. First of all, for the past 2 days, I personally, like yesterday and the day before yesterday, I had no sleep, stayed up throughout the beginning of the court yesterday because I wanted to hear every little detail myself so that I won't be reacting to what people say or he say or she say because it can't be recorded and all that stuff. Um, um, I agree with you, Gorilla Grodd. As far as, yeah, like for sure, but mainly for me this week it was to see exactly what she says. As I'm saying here, I want to hear every single thing so that I won't go through what people are saying. There's people with different agendas. There's this yes crowd, woke agenda, blah 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 blah. There's the no crowd. They're want to hear what they want to hear as well, and I don't want to be basically just reacting on what he say or what she say and all that stuff. So now hearing all of this stuff, I feel like I heard what I need. There's of course still a little bit more going. I don't think I will be listening in for the remainder of this. That's it. Like she's gonna make her decision sometime either next week or the week after. She has some time. Again, first of all, I could not be more angry, and this is personally for me, at the Allegheny people. Then I'm more angry with them than probably it. Even because to me right now I'm putting them in that same category as the shills, the sellouts, the shorts, that same category that all of those people are in. Allegheny and their lawyers are in. The guy was so pathetic. I mean, the fact, if you're going to send somebody to collect $20 million for a case, seriously, like that's not a small amount of money. Like you would be probably sending, like I would be sending, if I was Allegheny, okay, I would be sending some top-notch lawyer who got his shit together and all that. The guy, and you guys can all put in the chat here. You guys can write and type. When that guy was speaking, doesn't matter whether you're a yes vote, no vote, whatever your agenda is. Like he kept rethinking his words before saying them. He's thinking as he's talking. He doesn't know what he wants to say. He says some things and he oversays something, so he tries to redact some of that and then goes back again. And then he's like constantly it's so crazy. The fact that they're like they're sending this idiot to collect $20 million at the end, and then he himself does not even believe that they should be that they deserve the 20 mil. Like he's so shy to even say that. Like he said it once yesterday, and he's just kind of trying to double down on it today, but didn't even say the number, the figure. It's so crazy how like the bigotry and the corruption that is out there. The fact that whoever these unknown sources out there or forces that are trying to do us harm, um, whoever they are that placed this lawsuit, this to make it seem like it's on behalf of retail investors or even the no crowd, must be like so idiotic. They could have done at least a better job to make it a little more believable. Like this is equivalent to me to a low production movie that has like a horror movie that has like the whatever the monster in the movie is a mascot. And it's like so still and it's like coming at you. Like this was so so low, it's unbelievable. And it's so easy to see that this is not on behalf of the retail investor. And he himself at the end turned because of what happened to him yesterday and how Kittle schooled his ass, and just about everybody in this case. That's why they're all were coming at Kittle specifically. They didn't target the country gentleman that I saw some of you guys talking here about the memes about him, who I really appreciate and love. Because he is the symbol of courage and truth. But besides that point, he said that like when he saw that he was being owned by Kittle and like the other directors, today he made they unveiled their true agenda, their true face, by actually going ahead and saying that turning on the investors that they so-called represent. They said that they're doing this on behalf of the retail investor, and unfortunately, you saw how they at the end he came about and was like, "Hey, hey, the real threat to this company is actually the shareholders." So they turned on us, the Allegheny lawyers and their company, and freaking turned on us at the end, while they have the audacity to say that they're making their lawsuit on behalf of retail investors. It's so crazy. Like, what kind of case do you have now? Like, there's no doubt, there's no inch in my body that has any doubt that the judge is going to literally, when she makes her ruling, like, again, I'm not the judge, but this is so stupid. Like that Allegheny shit should completely be withdrawn. I think it's, for me personally, I think it's between Kittle and the objectors versus AMC. That's what I feel like it should come down to, because Allegheny and their lawyer have no standing. I mean, he made no case. He spoke the longest and made no points. And in fact, he made it more of a disaster. I mean, if Allegheny didn't even speak, they would have probably had still a better standing than the fact, like, after they sent this idiot or this schmuck to speak. If I'm the judge, I'm going to be thinking like, okay, so he's here on behalf of the retail investors. Yet on the second day, he turned on the retail investors and said that they are the problem. So first of all, what do you want 20 million for from AMC? Why are you here? If you're with AMC, then who are you representing? Like, why are you against AMC? You just want a better settlement, one for every 7.5 shares for your client, which is Allegheny, who has, everybody is floating around that Allegheny barely has any shares, if any. So what are you doing here? What do you want? A quick 20 mil? Just a quick 20 mil, hoping that it will just be given to you since it's easy money being handed out? Right, Gorilla Grodd? That countryman had balls to drive out of his way to speak his mind yesterday, man. That countryman is the real deal. Casey Hogg, have fun with you and your family at the zoo, and enjoy your time. Just make sure no Harambe situation happens there, because we're scarred here in Cincinnati for Harambe ever since that Harambe situation happened. So don't drop. Make sure you keep your eye on the kids. Exactly. CA, thank you for agreeing as well. Like, he couldn't agree anymore. He's all over the place with his intentions to represent us, to make us look like idiots, not representing us. I want 20 million. Like, come on, dude. Come on, dude. What are you doing here? Exit wounds is what the hedge funds will feel when we sell our shares during MOAS. Hell yeah. Adrian, you're the same person that also said MOAS or no ass, right? You patented that line. See, Gorilla Grodd. See, this is the problem with that. With exactly right there, when you said the FUD articles after yesterday, though, that they basically all said sell after the case is over, and that's the thing, Gorilla Grodd. By having a division amongst the community, that kind of talk, and if you guys remember, Adrian, you can vouch for this. I had a few personal conversations with some family members and close friends here, and I've said exactly this, okay? And I've had this kind of topic. I've talked about it in one of the lives, and I'm gonna elaborate on that a little bit more. I'm gonna walk you through, and hopefully as short as possible, as quick as possible. When this thing first started, the idea that we buy and hold, lock up the float, squeeze the shorts out of and margin call them out of their short positions, and get life-changing wealth. Now, we stuck to our side of the plan, and we continue to go through with it. No divisions amongst the community. Everybody's bullish, crazy numbers, blah, 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 blah. The other side is also thinking, because you got to remember, we have our side planned out and we have our end fully figured out. But on the other side, they also need a plan. They needed to come up with a plan. They need to screw us. It's just natural. Even though that they're the cheaters, even though that they're the manipulators, they're still not going to just fold. And we've seen this, and we know all about this, because look at us, 2.5 years later, here we are. Almost at the cusp at hopefully what I feel like is going to be the end of all these issues. Now, with that being said, what I feel like is they tested us back in June 2021, not January, in June. In January of 2021 is when they figured out that we're much more sophisticated than what they have ever anticipated, especially with the options and what happened and with GME and all that stuff. Now, on June 2021, I feel, and this is just my opinion on my take on this story, I feel like they tested us out as far as the AMC community. They gave us a test. They wanted to see how many people will actually exit at the prices that when we reached our all-time high in the 70s back then. And I have a reason to believe, and this is my hypothesis here, hypothetical reasoning, that not many people actually sold at that, because I remember gauging the sentiment at the time around the community, and everybody was talking about crazy stuff. Like the 75 was not even bringing anybody to the table, right? Of course, not like how they're talking now, how all these people are coming out of the woodworks now talking about, oh yeah, collect your profits, you should have sold, you should have bought, you shouldn't have bought at the top, blah, 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 all that stuff. But anywho, I think that they were gauging us back then to see exactly if we mean it or not. And when they saw that we really mean business, they knew that if millions upon millions of freaking people are gonna, at some point when they get margined, because they're not selling, they say buy and hold, and everybody's saying buy and hold. I don't care, I could hold this forever. They did synthetics, they did IOUs to try to deflect the meeting the bull head on right there and then, which is us. So they found a way in January of 2021 to try to not get margined by basically getting the green light by God knows who to go ahead and issue as many IOUs as you need. We know this because we see so many market makers and so many other brokers, major entities like big banks that that have billions of assets that are delivered but not yet purchased, which means they took the money for these assets. They didn't deliver it. For example, Citadel, over 65 billion. Citigroup, same shit. Virtue, Sequoia, same shit. All these people, Bank of America, and the list goes on. All these entities have basically been delivering but not purchasing, which is basically not sending what you're paying toward whatever destination you send it toward or you bought it against, which means that makes sure that the stock doesn't go against the market cap of whatever stock that you put your money on, that you try to buy. And therefore, the stock does not, since the market cap is not being reached, that the order is not reaching the market cap, you're not affecting the price of that stock to the upside, whether and on the NYSE, the NASDAQ, or the freaking dark pool, whatever angle you want to go through this. And therefore, they were able to deflect in June 2021 the bull having to meet us head on because they knew that they would be toppled. Now, when they saw that we were really we were about that life, they were like, okay, now we know that these people mean the end of us. Not just one or two or three individuals or three brokers or market makers. No, the entire system on the other side. Everybody who even greenlighted that crap. And this stretches out all the way up to the freaking DTCC, in my humble opinion. And when they saw this, and again, you see the repo and reverse repo in the market. All of this is green-lighted by the highest and highest of offices in order for them to be able to do this. Now, 2 years later, we're at this point where they're like, okay, if these people are not getting out, even if we keep sending the price down, first try they did after June 2021, when they knew that we were serious about our business and what we want to do, we were saying it and we were walking it. We meant it. The first thing they did were like, okay, first plan, let's hit them where it hurts. Hit them at their investment. Hit them at their money. That's where you hit somebody to hurt them. They did that. They kept dropping the price ever since then for the past 2 years, and now look at us, all the way down to the $4 range. But before we get to the $4 range, they were able to get us to the teens. And before we go after what happened in the teens, this is exactly at that point they saw that, hey, we brought them down from the 70s to the teens, and these guys are not getting out. Yes, if you remember back in 2022, early part of 2022, last year, there was a big movement that was going around where brokers were margin calling retail investors that were on margin accounts, or they had a maintenance call and stuff like that. So that was phase 2 for them. Attack them where it hurts. Some people fell victims to that stuff, but the overall majority still didn't, and were able to survive that, and in fact pushing even stronger. Every time these idiots brought the price down, people averaged down and bought more. They were like we took it, like the reverse psychology worked like crazy. We took it more like, hey, you know what? They thought that they're hurting us by bringing our investment down, by hitting us at our money investment. Instead of us being worried and scared, we went and bought more. So the reverse psychology didn't work. In fact, it hurt them and reversed back at them. So they were like, okay, well, that didn't work. What do we do? How can we get these idiots out of this stock? How can we get these shares from them? Because we're not going to let these millions of people moas at our expense, which means at our own graves or our own demise, which is to be expected of them. No, none of them is going to come out and say, you know what, I've been wrong. Let's do the right thing. Let's give them the money. No, these people don't give a shit. In fact, even if they have to lose just $1 to save your life, they'll say, I'd rather keep my dollar. That's how much they don't care or they despise us, that percent, that big club up there. And that's the way they view us. So they were like, we got to come up with another plan. We got to come up with another way to get these people out of their positions. Well, that's why when in the lower teens, when the creation of this ape, I believe, this is my humble opinion again, the creation of this ape because of how quick it was made and how quick it was developed to try to be brought right back into AMC with a 10-to-1 reverse split to try to limit the exposure to all these freaking IOUs out there that they've been issuing for the past 2.5 years, because they've been definitely enjoying collecting the money and the premiums of these, whether calls or even the stock. For over the better part of the past 2.5 years, they've been collecting that stock price, giving you a share or an order, fulfilling your order, thinking that you have these legitimate shares, which to you, they are legitimate shares. But to them, they're more like, we'll take your money, we'll go and reinvest it and make more money out of it. But now it's our money. You don't even dream about having that money back. In fact, we're going to try to convince you to think that your money is already gone. With time, that's the wizardry that they used at time. Over the past 2.5 years, they're like, okay, if we have the clearance from the up top, who do these people have? We got no one but ourselves. So in my humble opinion, when APE was created in that point, one, it helped them in many ways. First, it was derived from AMC common shares, which helped the price of AMC also drop further, which helped many short positions also enjoy. If they were on the brink of this or that, some of them, maybe they were able to, like the smaller short positions, they were able to get out so that they don't become the lighting match that screws over the big ones that are on top, that have been in this for God knows how many years now, and long on these short positions. But in the same time, they knew that the only thing that can make AMC shareholders leave their positions is a metaverse reality. And that's the closest example I could give you guys. The metaverse reality is to think that this is AMC just like the AMC that you're in. Again, that's what APE represents. APE is a metaverse virtual reality of AMC. They convince the minds and the masses with the fact that this is, because you know what? Once we do this arbitrage, it's much cheaper. It's the same thing as AMC. It's been 2.5 years. You've already spent all your dry powder on the side on this and many other things. So therefore, you don't have more dry powder 2.5 years later down in this situation. Now that the price is cheaper, you want to buy more. But instead of buying back more into AMC, why don't you buy back into this? Now we've started witnessing, when the creation of APE happened, we started witnessing even some influencers influencing people to go ahead and actually sell their AMC shares to go and buy more APE so that they can, in due time, be switching all that back into AMC so that they can basically use the arbitrage and have more shares of AMC. Well, it sounds noble enough, but I would like to give a message to all these people out there who thought like that. And I know there's some YouTube content creators who did that, but I'm not going to call any of their names out, okay? Not just one, more than one. But I'll say this. Don't you think that on that side, they're a little bit more sophisticated than that, knowing? So in my humble opinion, I think that they were successful at getting at least a certain amount or a group of people to limit their exposure to AMC by jumping here. And if God has it the way that I think about it, the way I discussed it with some of my close family members, and then now with you, because you are all my family, I always promise that I will always tell you everything here and here. And if God has it correct, the way that I've been thinking about it, this BS will not go through with common shares. And therefore, the people who did this to jump here, they won't even have the chance to jump back in here unless they want to spend so much freaking money. Because at the end of the day, it's all been about AMC. It was never, ever about preferred equity or APE. Arbitrage, no problem. My situation was I would sacrifice for giving the company, I was okay with them without even them having me vote on it, to issue APE and preferred equity stock. Therefore, I said, you know what, I'll sacrifice whatever, freaking a third of my investment amount, or $7 out of each share, just so that I could get this APE that is supposed to be a dividend, but I'm paying for it from my own pocket. But I'll do that if that helps my company. That's what you call sacrifice right there. Not us standing against the nonsense that perhaps could end the movement and the MOAS or the short squeeze. That's exactly what sacrifice is. I sacrificed from my own investment to make that, and I didn't care even whatever happens with it. But at that point, I was like, you know what? Now we have a double chance. We could screw them here, and we could screw them here. Instead, the notion was more elsewhere, and I think that fell right into the plans or the tricks of the people involved, the shorts. They are the main beneficiaries of those actions. When people were dumping some AMC to buy ape, thinking about the arbitrage, guess who was benefiting? Not retail, not AMC, shorts. Now there is more shares defined that they couldn't have had for about 2.5 years, real fucking shares or even synthetics. So personally, this is the way I feel about all of that. And that's the way I wanted to describe it to all of you guys, that this, in my humble opinion, was all a ploy to make sure that they can, that one of their last, if not their last, I think, honestly, I think it's their last attempt to try to get people to get out of their positions. And you can't tell me that it's not working on some people. I know it's not working on many people, but you can't tell me it's not working on some people because I've seen it. Look at this, all these yeses around. What is their main agenda? Buy on the arbitrage. Yes, of course, some of them are heroes. While they're buying more ape than AMC, but some of them have not sold a single freaking share of AMC. But guess what? There's some that are coming out and saying, yes, AMC to the moon, and we are true apes and all that. And those are the same freaking exact ones that dumped their entire AMC positions to load up on ape, and now they're aggressively pushing that convergent bullshit down everybody's throats and calling people shills, and they're aggressive now with it. Do you remember some of these content creators who used to say, I don't know, I'm in the middle between the yes and the no vote before the vote was commenced. And you know what? Like, we just need to move in one direction. I don't care. You guys decide. We'll move in that direction. Surprisingly now, those very same people are coming out, calling people freaking shills, disgracing people, fucking degrading people, calling people out and all of this stuff. And I don't like it because it gets the worst of me, not the best of me, to see stuff like that. Those are people that some of the community, a big portion of the community, have held and put on a pedestal. And they come out and speak about, oh, banks, this, is that, oh my God, oh, blah, blah, blah. But just because they come out so inspiring and pumped and whatever, they just took a line, sniffed a line of Coke or some shit, and now they're pumped up. People make it seem like it's whatever they're saying is the truth. Yeah, you read a couple of books and now you're talking about it. Good for you. But the trading world, that's not about the last 2 years or 3 years. It's a complete different scenario. And I think that they, for sure, if they're not being paid or if they're not shills themselves, they just completely have it completely wrong. They got a lot of things correct, but they're tying the lines and the dot completely wrong. And the number one motivator to them is greed. That's ultimately the main motivator, because the greed is what's killing them. They're afraid of the situation or the possibility of ape not converging over to AMC or becoming one-to-one AMC. Because if that doesn't happen, then they have been making a terrible mistake. They will feel bad. Like, hey, I've went all in on ape thinking it's going to be AMC. Well, whose fault is that? Is that the no voters' fault? Is it a bad problem? Or is it a big problem that we wholeheartedly fighting for the company and for our freaking investment, that the company that we freaking saved? Stop the freaking bigotry, man. Stop the bullshit. You can do all this pumped up, hyped up, screaming in the back of a chat for an hour and a half or 2 hours, calling people out and pulling up Twitter and shit and talking like, look at this clown, look at that clown, yeah. And it sounds all cool, like WWE-ish and all that stuff, but that shit don't run with me, bro. that shit don't run with some of us. That stuff is like that don't mean shit. The loudest dog is not the smartest dog, or the right dog, I guess, in this case. So that's the way basically I feel or see that stuff. And I have to walk you guys, at least to the family here, through that situation, because you have to keep that as a theory in the back of your head. If we know manipulation has no end or meets no boundaries and corruption, what are the odds that they reached out to a board and a board of that company that same company that could bring the end of them? So if they can do corruption and manipulation all over the world, all over the companies, all over the stock market, all over the place, you think they're not going to go ahead and approach a freaking board of the very same company that could obliterate them? I know you guys watch enough movies. We're in the world in the time where movies are all over the place. Imaginations are through the roof. It's the easiest thing to expect that for sure in the back of my head they approach the board. If not one member, maybe the entire board. If not the CEO, then most of that board. And does that mean that they're 100% on that train, on that paid wagon or paid train? That I can't personally prove it. Many of us can't prove it, but the actions speak for itself. I spoke earlier in the live when the judge was speaking and all that stuff. We muted that out, and basically I was speaking. I said, when somebody is being paid millions to be at the helm, top helm, 20 million, 18 million a year, all that stuff, it makes no sense for you to be making more than one bad, catastrophically bad moves for the company. And yet you want to say that, yeah, I don't agree with everything that he says. You want to be so passive and pessimistic and passive aggressive when it comes to the major downfalls of the major, like biblically terrible decisions that they made or he made, specifically with Ape. And it's how it was handled and how it was sold. The main objective of creating preferred equity that I sacrificed, and each single one of you out there, yes or no, paid $7+ out of each one of your shares, common shares, so that you can go ahead and create this preferred equity. And we all said that's a sacrifice for the company, because since the beginning of this movement, we've been doing nothing but sacrifice for this freaking company. They sold in 2021, that entire board were selling in 2021, filling up their bank accounts. They took $2 billion for the company itself, for AMC, and mishandled that $2 billion in general, which we will not even get into. Now that we're back over here, the entire reason why I gave one final sacrifice to what I think is a final sacrifice was to let them derive from my equity, from the value of my common shares, to create the preferred equity. And guess what? The only purpose of it is to pay down freaking debt. We expected you to dilute the shit out of Ape, but not at 66 cents. And when you come to some of these pedestal sitting influencers, they completely overlook that and say, and literally like, you know what? Yeah, that was kind of like a bad move, but you know what? He did some good moves, and overlook that shit. How do you overlook your objective? How do you overlook the main objective? You can plan to, you can, like, it's mind-boggling, like the bigotry in this whole stance, but you can't overlook the main objective. That raises my questions, my firewall, all my system, the alarms, all of that shit. You can't come out and say, we didn't want to sell in the right time in the beginning. We wanted to wait a month so that retail won't think we're the ones who dropped the price. So if you even have the slightest of the ideas that the price is going to drop and it's going to fall, why don't you take advantage of it? The main reason of creating it was to take advantage of it so that we won't have to get screwed on our common shares. Now, since you took from me to make a preferred equity, now you want to come back and say that was not enough. I'm going to take your common equity. I'm going to take your preferred shares. I'm going to screw you over left and right, triple way, quadruple way, and maybe you might have this thing called short theses. You might. It's mind boggling. And that's why I love each single one of you in here. I'm sorry, I've been away from the chat to look at the comments and all of this stuff, but there's like enough is enough when you hear some of these people. Like, I keep my cool. You guys know that AB never brings anybody down. As you can see, I'm not even calling out names in particular. But it's so crazy how when somebody is always respectful and always minding his business and it's basically not harming anybody, yet I watch these other clowns that do nothing but literally degrade people, call people out, bring people down, call people names, do all of that stuff, and they get like supported and being put on pedestals like they're honorary members or great people. It's either that the community is freaking flawed, or it's either that some shit is does not add up at all. And if this reverse split does not go through, any of you pumping, okay, I'll take a tone down a little bit. Any of you that is pumping this reverse split convergent, and if you went ahead and over leveraged yourself with ape, you got nobody to blame but your freaking self. And you are not a true ape if that basically happens, because at the end of the day, true ape knows that the reason why we agreed on ape without even having to agree on it or vote on it, it just happened, is because it was supposedly going to help out the company and the fundamentals of the company, make it last, make it go for another 2-3 years. And instead, they threw and fumbled the shit out of that ball. It was worse than the freaking fumble that or the interception that the freaking Patriots did, the Seattle Seahawks did at the Patriots goal line. You guys remember that Super Bowl? That the ape situation of how it worked out and how AMC board handled that ape was literally worse than that. Like, it was worse than that interception at the goal line. Like, you got freaking beast mode right here, and you don't get... Look, now we're jumping to football. What's up, Glock? How are you, brother? I'm with you, John. I'm with you, John. I'm with you, people. Batar, for me personally, I feel like the case has been going on great. We'll see. If you don't know by now, Batar, the judge said that she wouldn't be given any ruling this week. In fact, not even this week. She wants people to enjoy the 4th of July holiday, and then basically afterwards she would release her judgment, or pass her judgment in a written statement that she will post on the docket, the court's docket. So, good, bad, both. Exactly, John. It is for sure divide and conquer. That's the strategy. Good morning, Finny. Orlando. Hell yeah. Okay, let's see what's happening here on the market. Uh, as suspected, as I told you guys, with you see here, I drew this circle while the case was going on. This is what I drew as a trend line that from yesterday, there are the Bulls and the Bears are fighting over. As you can see, every time they try to get us to this, you see this green action. We get the Bulls pumping back up. Basically, there are people out there or an entity out there that basically loves this price in this area. Does not want AMC to drop lower, at least for the meantime. And as you can see here, if I back out from yesterday, you see, oh, hold on, hold on, hold on. Hey, stop, stop, stop. Um, if you see, this is from yesterday. Ever since we hit this, we had that bullish green candle that I drew yesterday. We picked up and we went up to the high from yesterday and even till today. And every time we came down, you see here yesterday, we tested it again. The bears try to bring us down below it. We went above it. And it has a lot to do with the 200-day moving average on a daily base, which shows me that we are having upward movement since what we last week I showed. I feel like what we bottomed out at. Here, as you can see, the Bulls try to take advantage again. The Bears met them, brought them right back down to this trend line that I drew. And as you can see, we kept consolidating. The battle was fierce here. The Bears couldn't get us under. We beat them right back up. But as you can see here, this today when the market opened is what really brought us up at around 10:52 all the way till 4:38, almost 4:39, and then since then you see the bears attacking us. They're bringing us right back down to this below this trend line, and now it's going to be very important to see what happens, at least for the short term, until next week. What happens here in this play throughout until the end of the day? Will we rebound back up above this trend line and capture above 431, close at least above 431? That's going to be that we will remain to see this throughout the day. We still have about 4.5 hours for this to pan out. In the same time, the as anticipated from last week and the week before that, what I was telling you guys about the S&P 500 and overall the market. I mean, look at this. They ran up as soon as the PCI numbers came through, and it was apparently good data. We've had multiple of people speaking, like even Janet Yellen speaking, thinking that, oh, inflation is cooling off. I think we could do a soft landing. And this is to be expected. They've done this many times in the past months, in the past year or so, basically to artificially pump the market and eventually bring it right back down, in my humble opinion. Now, to bring it down, they make obviously money shorting from a better place, and in the same time, that way that the people who are shorting the entire rest of the market, they also hold position throughout the rest of the company. So in other words, people who are shorting AMC, people who are shorting GME and other shares, the rest of their other portfolio counts on the S&P 500 or the other major indexes, and that's to have exposure to many other companies. And even if it's not just the index funds or the ETFs, they are probably invested in Nvidia, Microsoft, Facebook, Netflix, Apple. Apple almost every day is making a new all-time high, which is mind-boggling. And in other words, as I was saying, that by having these ups or rips, people who are a margin for shorting positions, they get to take a breather, because if the market was to crash and they're held still in short positions, they will most likely be margin called, because their rest of their portfolio falls underneath a certain percentage, that obviously their creditors or their lenders will come in to margin call them, because, hey, you know what, forget about the short position that you have. We're going to margin call your portfolio because look at this, your whole portfolio fell down. So if like the SPY or the S&P 500 or Apple or Microsoft, these major cap stocks, if they were in Costco and them, if these stocks were to drop immensely, like very, very badly down, these people will take catastrophic losses, and that could lead to them being margin called on short positions that they have in their portfolios. So that's an important thing. But as you can see here, that rip in that PCI, look at all that gap right here that eventually we would have to fill on the way back down. Perhaps maybe next week, perhaps we'll continue going. But if you guys remember from 2 weeks ago, I came on and I gave you this. And that's why a lot of people would not even believe this. You guys remember, a lot of people are calling market crash tomorrow, market crash this and all this stuff, but that's because they have not as much like understanding of the entirety of the market. And when you see here, I came and gave you guys this case, drew this case scenario for you. And many of you in here perhaps could go ahead and call or fact check this. And I was like, look at this. Ever since 2008, we literally never had an actual crash. All we had was corrections. This is the SPY chart. And when you look at it, even in 2020, we didn't have an actual crash. We just had a correction. We drop. And constantly on a 5-year chart, if you look at it, we are always, even in the 2020 crash, it just about respected the 200-day moving average on a long, of course, term or chart time frame. And constantly we took corrections, and even after those corrections, we come right back and make new all-time freaking highs, as we made here toward the end of 2021 in December/early January of 2022. And then we started correcting, but then in October of 2022, we changed the trend. And since then, as you can see, since October of 2022, we have been making a completely different trajectory or a price movement to the upside. And that showed me is if we were to follow the algorithm since 2008, we were following that same algorithm, the same pattern, then we're primed for a new all-time high before we make another correction, or perhaps the first official crash on the market. That's what I call miracle number 2. You guys remember, if some of you have been in that live from the other day when I talked about what miracle number 2 is for AB, then you would know exactly what that is. That's our inside joke. But as you can see, this trend lines here, they play a big role. In the past few weeks, I was drawing these trend lines because let's go back on a monthly time frame. As you can see here, even though we had a heads and shoulder form, I mean, the gap from today is unbelievable. Look, it's you can easily see this. Every time we touch this level right here, this was our last level of support, by the way, as far as the case for bulls. When we touched this place, that's when we gapped up. That's why I drew this line right there. Whenever we touch this level and this price around 431.45, we gap up and we made this run, and this was back on the beginning of June. Yes, so in the beginning, around the beginning of June, early June, like in June 11th, we made earlier this month, we made this gap up, and we continued, and we made a 52-week high officially on June 16th. And then we made a gap down. This is where basically these companies, these perpetrators, are making so much money, because they're making money on the way up, they're making money on the way down. In the same time, they're constantly, the market makers are making insane amount of premiums out of people who don't follow trends and don't know much into the market. And they're just jumping in, hoping to see if it's going to be calls or puts. or just follow the logic that it's going to be only the news and any of that stuff. Uh, and as you can see here, we went into this trend since the 16th, all the way down, and you can make a case that almost every 2.5 weeks, the SPY has a trend. Almost every 16 to 19 days, the trend changes, and you can see that here on this on this chart. You know, you can see it through the days. We made the complete correction here. Like this is when they were bringing us down after the 16th of June. This is when they brought us down, and this was last Monday. This last Monday right here, when we met the bottom, which is happens to be the same level that we took off from back on the 11th or the 12th of June. The 12th of June. They brought us here, and at that point, I remember on Monday, I was like, if we go below this, that will, at that moment, officially confirm to me from a data perspective that we were embracing for falling down and going right back down and perhaps making a correction to this whole run. And that this, on the 16th, was actually the top of the pyramid for us. That's it. And we will go down till to be seen in the future date. But that didn't happen. We didn't cross this. We met this resistance right here, or this support, and we bounced off of it. You can see here huge, that Monday was huge where they brought us to it. Huge red bear action and selling action and all this stuff. They brought us to this resistance and or this support, and then we bounced right back off of it. And as you can see here, again, the 26th, by the 27th, we were right up here in the 436 level, which was, again, about a 1% move to the upside just in a matter of a day. The end of that Monday toward that Tuesday. And then since then, as you can see, this takes us to Thursday, to the opening of today. And today when we open, based on the PCI numbers, we take this major leap. Now we're doing a little correcting. I feel like we will close anywhere around here. But in the long run, seeing this data, what this shows me is that we are embracing to go ahead, and let's go back on a yearly time frame, meet this resistance soon, which is 453.46. And before we ultimately, on a longer time frame, God knows how exactly long that will take, to try to make a new all-time high before somewhere around here, whatever, who knows. The S&P 500, it would be iconic if they break the 500 or reach the 500 before doing one of these corrections, or perhaps from somewhere around these areas. Who knows? This is the gray area that I personally think they will go to. Again, I'm not an advisor, but this is what I'm doing for myself. Today, I was extremely happy with what I've done with my calls on my SPY, even though many people just didn't see it happening. But the data, I was talking about it from weeks ago. And the data shows you a whole lot of truth that you can go through with. And then maybe perhaps from up here, we can either make a correction to these areas where it's like similar to the 2020s, or perhaps the first official crash of the SPY, and God knows where that would lead to. And at that point, it's hey, wherever it goes, I'm happy with. I am cool with. All right. Let's go back to AMC. Hopefully you guys walked away with a lot from this, or at least something. Look at this, man. I drew this on a long period, on a time frame. I drew this trend line as well for us. This blue line right there represents that. And every time we touch this, that's exactly where we either bounced in January, but then we were manipulated down, back down. Everybody remembers that story. And then before we met it again, that's when we exactly, it was a launching pad to when we made our all-time highs in 2021 in June. Let me go on a daily. Now they got us underneath this trend line for as far as the where we belong. So now, see, this tells me like breaking down below this trend line, and that's the same exact trend line that we drew over here. Most important thing for me here, as I laid out before in many instances, is this. The fact that we are, yes, in a downtrend because we have this, we're underneath the 200 moving average. However, the best part about that is ever since we made this death cross to the downside in early 2022, January 4th, January 5th of 2022, obviously we've been down, so about a year and a half now, easy to the date, actually. And then now we are getting closer and closer to flip the switch, to actually switch from being under from a trend that's under the 200-day moving average to going over. And what a coincidence that we were actually going to do that same thing that we're doing right now back in August/September of 2022. As you can see here, the data tells you the 50-day moving average was that close, this close from breaking through and switching the trend that we were in to be above the 200-day moving average, which indicates an upward movement in the price of the stock. And another thing, it would also indicate a golden cross on the technical or in the charts, which always tends to be followed by upward movement in the stock action and the price action. But I wonder what happened in August/September of 2022. Our price was the price of AMC was catapulted by when they derived to create APE preferred equity shares. They took out of the AMC share price, which was around $7 plus per share, which, as you can see here on the chart, it reacted beautifully to that. We almost went up. I wonder who benefited from that move, you know. And instead of crossing, we were brought down. It's just so crazy here. When I looked at it, I was like, we were changing that direction and we were going to have a golden cross. What stopped that? What made us meet that 200-day moving average and bring us right back down? When I saw that, you know, I was like, let's look what happened in August of 2022. What happened in September of 2022? Oh, APE issuance. It came out of nowhere, I remember. And it was just quick how it came out of nowhere. And now here we are, as you can see. And then since then, we were been in this downtrend underneath the 200-day moving average. But guess what? Look where we at. If you guys remember last week, I said that when we were right here, when they were bringing us down, I was like, look at this gap that we had here from the earlier part of this year, in January of this year. So when we were up here moving up and they brought us down, if you remember, many people were saying, oh, it's going to be pain, so much pain. We're going to be brought down to the 2s and the 1s and all that stuff. And I said, maybe so, but here there's a gap that we have to fill. And I feel like we could bounce right off of that. And that's where we at right now. Exactly. We came down on the charts. You see, we filled this freaking gap over here. It's very small. You can see it when I zoom in. And hopefully you guys are able to see. I didn't check my on the see how if you guys okay, my face was on. Let me make it smaller. Sorry. So let's see, let's go back to it. So now that we're that close to that line again, surprisingly, look what we have on the horizon. Similar to that APE freaking situation back in August of 2022 and September of 2022. A similar situation. Now we have a reverse split and a convergence on the horizon. What are the odds that some corporate action always comes right when something big like this is about to happen, like the change in the trend of the price of the stock? When it goes up on the charts, again, numbers don't lie. People do lie, but numbers don't, and data doesn't. So we're that close, people, as I see. Again, the 50-day moving average is at 4.9, and the 200-day moving average is at 5.6. You could technically say about 570. And once this red line right here, as I colored it red for the 50-day, crosses the gold 200-day moving average to the upside, that's when you will officially consummate a a golden cross, and at that point you would be expecting upward trajectory in the price action of whatever stock. It's not just for an AMC related thing. It's just how this is just how it works technically. Um, so we'll see how that would basically all play out um, in the longer time period. And now looking here, sorry, I'm just looking at something because I just kept a couple of trades, day trades that I have open that I need to execute. Let's see. What do we have here as far as comments? Because AB is tired. 'Lyrical assassin. 1796 Patriot. What's up, my friend? Uh, Crash is coming unless it's artificially propped up, in my opinion. Well, of course, a crash. I mean, that stuff is imminent. 1796 Patriot. Crashes are imminent. It's just about expecting. If you're a trader, it's knowing what trades to make so you can benefit from every angle as much as you can to the best of your abilities. And for me, it was all about, again, I've told you guys many times how to hedge your positions that you're going to take to both realities so that you don't get completely risky all the way, or in the same time to keep yourself exposed to also the profits or the rewards of whatever reality that you're going to go in. Now, the trend was telling me too much here and you guys can call it out again, as I said, for the past 2-3 weeks, I've been saying that, hey, this is what the data shows. This is what it's saying. This indicates that this exactly will happen. Did it happen? Well, for the most part so far, as in reference to the SPY, it's exactly working out exactly as I've told you 3 weeks in advance. Point me to the direction of the people that are doing so. Point me to the direction of the people that are doing that. And when I'm doing it, I'm not just doing these things by doing it like, oh, okay, by saying a statement without showing people receipts, reason of why. And why I don't even, do I need to show anybody anything? No. But the reason why I do it is because this is my way to show the family, like, hey, you know what? This is how we can get up on these freaking hedge funds, on these vampires that are basically preying on retail. This is how our community can become stronger and bigger from within. You have to understand, not just hear like why somebody such and such said this. If you look at it, then the one percenters, like people like these Jamie Dimons and the Ray Dalios and all that, they will give you a statement, but they don't give you what backs that statement. They'll say, yeah, the stock market is crash is imminent. Well, okay. They said that back in 2021, 2020. Well, look where we at now. It's 2023 and it's still no crash. So when it does happen, they'll collect the fruits saying, I told you it was going to happen in 20, but they never said in 2024. But they'll say that I've told you the crash is going to happen. The crash is imminent. Pumps are imminent. Crashes are imminent. It's knowing what is going to happen when, because that actually gives you a lot more influence and exposes you to go ahead and possibly make money that could definitely make your life much easier or your loved one's life much better. All right, family. Does anybody have any questions? Because look how they aggressively attacked us right here. Okay. You know what was funny too, guys, is this article that I saw earlier. Man, I'm telling you guys that guy is a legend. That Kittle lawyer for Izzo, Tom Izzo, is a Rose Izzo, is a freaking legend. They even made an article off the guy. I mean, they could have, this is routers, so they would love to make an article that always stabs the investors, but they literally could have said anything about the Allegheny lawyer or anybody else, but instead they're over here talking about like AMC backstabbed retail investors, settlement opponent tells court. And over here, that's when they talk about an AMC Entertainment Holdings shareholder who objected to a settlement over the theater chain's controversial stock conversion plan, told a Delaware court on Thursday that some investors felt the company stabbed them in the back. The deal would provide holders of AMC common stock with shares worth estimated 129 million to resolve allegations the company rigged a shareholder vote against them. See, here's the weird part and the crazy part is that they somehow in this article, of course, tie in Allegheny's case, but in the same time, brush in or throw in the fold Kittle's or Rose Izzo's lawyer in the mix. Like they're both on the same side when in reality they're not. Rose Izzo's Delaware resident who first invested in AMC in 2021 objected to the deal. Um, and there, Theodore Catella, that's the lawyer. This is the beast right here. This is the guy. An attorney for Izzo said that the hearing that the objectors believe the company stabbed them in the back by controlling the vote that shifted the balance of ownership to holders of preferred stock. And we all basically know who's also in the preferred stocks. That now that it's over $1 billion out there, majority of it is held by institutes. And why are people angry, right? Because they feel like they are not being heard. Of course, they forgot to put the not being heard. I remember him saying that in the hearing yesterday. AMC raised $2 billion off the wild rally in 2021 as retail investors banded together online and piled into meme stocks such as GameStop, in which hedge funds have bet against during the pandemic. But the stock selling spree left AMC with little equity to raise cash and the investor base uninterested in proposals that would dilute their holdings by issuing more shares. A Pennsylvania pension fund and an individual shareholder sued on behalf of common stockholders soon after saying the vote had been stacked against them and seeking an injunction to block it. And obviously, we said at the end, he ends it with, we leveraged, I don't want to say a bluff, but a situation where we had a real risk of getting a zero. Lebovich said the case is in AMC Entertainment Holdings stockholder litigation, blah, blah, blah. So the fact that they made a article about that part, I found that was pretty interesting. I actually liked it because he was a beast. He was a beast in my humble opinion. He killed it. He was the case, I think, and he is the case. It's no Alice. No, it's also the entire lawyers and the Allegheny. But no, there was also some objectors that were speaking. So it's a mix still. And again, if nobody has any questions, I'll stick around for a few more minutes before it hits noon so that you guys can catch up with the judge. If people have questions, please put them in now. I appreciate all your guys' likes to the stream. It definitely worked, and it brought a few more people from the family out there. Showed them that we're here for the algorithms. And to all the new subs that came in today, welcome to the family. Me casa su casa. And hopefully I didn't offend anybody indirectly or directly. By all means, at the end of the day, all what I want or intend for is the best and the greatest of intentions for everyone out there. That's obviously on our side. Alice, yes. Yes. Correct, Captain No Likey. These past 2 days has been crazy, man. I definitely need like to re rebalance my sleep schedule, my days, how I go about sleeping. In these past 2 days, it's been wild. It's been wild. It's been wild. Uh, Either way, there is there's so many things that so many people can do for like as far as plan. I know that if you're out there and you're thinking like, well, what if this case happens or this case happens? And of course, you're correct. If you're thinking that, you're very intelligent. I mean, you got to do that. That's just the natural thing to do. Um, I'll say this. I can't personally influence what you're going to do with your investment. I can't tell anybody. I always say this so that you can make sure that you understand that I am not like I speak constantly and I always speak my own emotions and feelings about this and speak only for my personal investment. Uh, I'll tell you this, like I've made this clear many times before. Um, this thing goes through, I know how to go about my investment because at the end of the day, I love this company. I love this stock. As you guys can see right above my image right there, AMC, we love the stock. But I don't love it over my own family and my own best interest at the end of the day. You know, if somebody's running at you with a knife, you're not just going to let them stab you and just go through with it and stab you. I think that's very foolish. So, in my to the best of my knowledge, that if this thing was to go through, that and I've said this many times before, us or AMC, and this is just my humble opinion, no matter what case scenario happens, is primed for a run up because we know that it's heavily shorted. And when shorts come to close their shorts, to buy back their stocks, to return them to whoever they borrowed these stocks from, or even close their IOUs and all that stuff, of course, it's natural that you will have a stock running up. Now, if the conversion and the reverse split happens, the way I see it, and I hope, again, I'll say this again so that you could not like say that AB influenced me. Like, not that I'm not, I'm 100% not a financial advisor. I do this solely for myself. And if I lose, I'm happy with it. And if I win, I'm more than ecstatic with it. But if this reverse split conversion goes through, I know that AMC being heavily shorted is no matter what primed for an upside and an upward trajectory in the price of its shares. Now, when will it happen exactly? No one knows. Um, the data, as I showed you in the chart right there, shows you like gives you a better clue onto when you will see it, and we will always be reporting onto that. But if that reverse split and conversion goes through as is, then I will not be one of what I feel like is going to be the fools that are holding for God knows what figures and whatnot. I will make sure once I get into a profitable position, a very commensable profitable position, I will take care of myself, my family, because I already know I'm not a fool. I see the writings on the wall. Now it's no longer consolidation and retail owning the float. Now the company has billions of shares that will in turn become 400 million shares that they can dump at any given time on top of the float. That's a reality that you have to keep in the back of your head, because they have to pay their debt. So it's so funny how it's the double standard system that is going around in this system, like in the community, where if you take care of yourself and your family, you're a shill. But if the company takes care of its debt and financial sheets and dilutes the stock so that it could take care of its of itself, then that's not shilling. So it's weird how that logic works, you know. But at the end of the day, I don't give two shits. I'm always gonna say it as is. I'm gonna take care of my family and myself, because that's what it's all about from the get-go, anyways. In the meantime, if I can take care of this company that I love, the stock that I love, I'll be more than happy to do so. And I've paid my dues over the past 3 years, being in since 2020, September of 2020, making many sacrifices to the stock and to the community, to the company, to the share price, to even giving the last sacrifice with Ape, not only being patient, but also overlooking so many different stupid shits that the board and the CEO have done over the past course of those 3 years. But on top of that, having the me sacrificing one final thing, which was the creation of Ape, and taking it out of my own common equity to create it. And then now you want to come back and screw me twice, 3 times, 4 times, however way, no problem. I know exactly the writing on the wall when it comes and when it happens, and that's to the best of my ability and to the best of my knowledge. I could be wrong, I could be right, but I'm willing to obviously live my life by my means and by my decisions, not according to somebody else's. So if that does not go through, if that whole reverse split does not go through, or if it works in a different way where it does not pertain to the common equity the way that it does, then obviously at that point my plan stays as is, as I had all along, which is, you know, MOAS or nothing. But I will be a damn fool personally to think MOAS is going to be around the corner when the complete dilution of new shares diluting the shit out of the common equity, all this billion plus that will get reversed, but then obviously get converged in with AMC, slash AMC having so many shares that they can dump in and dilute at any given time. And again, this is not company backed. The company has to do what it has to do. But that hurts MOAS stock. And again, this is where we differentiate, where I differentiate with some people. You're in this to have a theater open next to your door every day, every week. And that's what you're in it for, and you were willing to pay whatever thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to have that to have that as the reality. That's you. For me, the main reason of getting into this was nothing else short of life-changing wealth. That's the main reason why I got into this. And in doing so, I wouldn't mind helping this company come along, because it matters to me what happens with this company, but not over my own soul or over my own well-being. And that's where things start changing, is that we all love the stock the same probably, but our objectives are completely different when it comes to me either, you know, choosing the company over myself or myself over the company. It shouldn't be that way. It should be us, me and the company, versus the shorts or the predatory, as Adam Aaron likes to quote, refer to them as the unknown forces that mean to do us harm. It should be us, me, and the company versus them, not them, company. I have to choose me or the company or them. Like, no, hell no. All in AMC, yep. To MOAS or not to MOAS. Either way, I personally wholeheartedly believe that there's no way in the back of my head, unless AMC completely closes its doors, or World War III happens, that the price will go up even with reverse split or not, because the reverse split or in the conversion, Eventually, when shorts have to deal with their positions, forget about all the fundamentals. When shorts said, okay, you know what? Even if they were successful in bringing down the stock price to whatever limits, to get out of those short positions, they have to go and buy back these positions to return them so they can reap their profits. If they were to do so, then obviously that leads into or points to an upward direction in the stock price. It will move up. And that's why I 100% believe, and this is just my belief, my opinion, that the price of the stock, no matter what happens in this case, will go up. Now, what dictates how high it goes up or where it goes up is exactly what happens with this case. And that's what I will rest it on. Thank you, Alice. So will everybody's. And here's the thing, Alice, and I said this before, and I'll say it again to everybody in the chat for the people who probably wasn't here all along with AB or the new people that's up to us today. As you can see, AB is also a day trader. I enjoy trading. It's what I love doing. I'm not relying or exactly relying on my AMC investment. I have a massive position in GME, and many people know this from the original people that are sub to this channel, and a few other stocks, meme stocks. And I'm exposed, like I'm mainly into options, and I do a lot of options and day trading with options, SPY, major indexes, the SQQQ, the QQQ, Nvidia, any stock out there. This is just what I like to do. It's my thing. I don't rely on AMC. In fact, I'm one of the only people that keeps preaching to people for the past 2 years, been preaching to people saying, hey, my way of making my position bigger in AMC or GME or my other meme stock holdings is by actually through the market. So from the market, I make my position bigger through the market. So I'm constantly not putting money from my own pocket because as I trade, this is like the way I've described this in the past for the past 2 years is AMC and any of my meme stock holdings are all meals that are being prepared on the back burner. When they hit, they hit. But my bread and butter is not in these plays right now because on a daily basis, I'm doing my flipping on day trading, whether it's in the pre-market, whether it's through stocks, which is really boring compared to options. Because once you completely get into options and understand that it's not what is portrayed to be, because obviously who really benefits from doing so? Of course, the shorts. But playing options correctly is actually a way to leverage your position. It's actually not a gamble anymore. It's leveraging your position if you are playing them correctly or you are using them correctly. Now, for me, that's what I do. AMC or no AMC, that's what I does. That's what I do. GME or no meme stocks movement, that's what I do is day trade. And if this was worst case scenario, I made this case in the back of my head too. It's just logical. If this was to go ape shit down to the bottom on any of these, whether it's for AMC, whether it's for GME or any of my other meme positions, if they were all to go down, whatever for whatever reason, and that's it, they all go to zero, I'm okay with that. I already made my commencements to that reality in case it does happen. You know, because I have my exit strategies played out in so many ways so that in case this happens, I have this going on. I don't put all my eggs in one basket. And certainly, if this doesn't work out here, I'm in the entire market regardless, and I'm making my money elsewhere. So it's just, for me, again, it's all principle. I've been loading up on this. The funny thing is, you know how people are looking to make money on the MOAS or on AMC or GME or any of these stocks to go ahead and move them elsewhere and stuff. In fact, AMC and GME have been operating for the better part of the past 3 years as my personal bank accounts. Literally. And of course, they drop because what they do to it, but that's fine because the way that I see it as right now, for now, they're down or they're in the red. But what I do is I make profits, I do my trading and make my money on the market. And from that, I go and buy more. I make my positions bigger. So I'm using AMC and GME as my my life changing wealth ticket plus on top of that the storage of my money when I make profits from here. So I make profits from here. I take for what I need, and the rest I put it all in AMC and GME here and some other meme stocks right there. Long-term investments. Look, we're making a rebound now to try to get back above this blue trend line on AMC. I imagine that the same thing is probably happening throughout the sector. Nvidia is ripping like no tomorrow. So is Tesla. JD, maybe what do you think about the reverse stock split? Yes or no? You just want to know like what my views are? My views are no. Hopefully, I don't upset you with that. If I do, hey. The more political answer would have been like, what do you want my views to be about the reverse stock split? uh, hell yeah, moon tickets. And thank you, Alice, for the kind gesture and the kind words. Upon saying I'm on the no side, 5 people left the stream. JD, are you one of them or are you still in here? All right. Well, JD is here, so it's not him. Much love, JD. Once again, much love to all of you that been here with me for the better part of yesterday and today in this stream. AB, as you can see, is being feeding out because I'm fading right now. I need to go get rest. I need to get food. Hopefully I can fix my schedule of sleep throughout the weekend, and hopefully I can, basically catch you guys. What is your chart of the day? Like them. Most likely I'll catch you guys maybe throughout the weekend, like tomorrow or Sunday. If you guys have any questions, let's see if you have any. Of course, Sanjay, always will keep it real, no matter what. Menace PMC trades. I missed this morning. Don't worry. We'll make a recall of all of this on perhaps either Saturday or Sunday. I might get on online at some point, either tonight, tomorrow, or Sunday as well again, with brother owning the float at some point. Perhaps we'll talk about many of these things. All right. So at this point, thank you all for being amazing, the most wonderful community that anybody would ever dream of having. I appreciate all you guys' support. Thank you all for everybody that liked and subscribed and did whatever. Even if you didn't, thank you for at least giving me some of your time to show up and at least giving me whatever amount of time to listen to me. Did anyone else appear before the court after recess? I don't know. I haven't. I just zoned out after when the judge said that she would, and here Alice says no. Thank you, Alice. Right on the spot. Like I said again, enjoy your weekend, people. Remember, I'll leave you with this. The judge will not be making any ruling or judgment anytime before 4th of July. So Enjoy your 4th of July. Enjoy your family, your loved ones. Hug them. Do whatever. Go on barbecues. And unless you're in Alaska, and even in Alaska, still go on a barbecue, a cold one. uh, let's effing go. Just gave you the 50th like. Come on, man. That's short of 100. Just messing with you, man. Much love, much love. Thank you so much. I'm humbled. Darren, thank you for the respect. You got my 1000% of respect. Thank you, family. And with that being said, go enjoy your weekends. Till I catch you next time, whether here or on a different channel. AB Investments. Much love.